Okay. Cool. Oh my god, I was unmuted this entire time. That's embarrassing. Anyways, ignoring that. Welcome. What the fuck did I mute? I didn't mute shit. Okay, whatever. I'm so smart and genius and the sun glaring in my eyes. Yeah, this wasn't meant to take like 6 minutes. I just needed to get milk because I wanted to drink like something with a straw. I know, totally normal, but the problem was there wasn't any up and goes because we haven't had up and goes because I haven't been going to school, so make a whole ass drink. But anyways, today, since I don't think I promised anything yesterday, today we are just playing Project Sekai, like the Japanese one, not the English. Because, 1, I can, 2, I just did the thing where it, you know, what's it called? I don't know what's called. The thing where you get like a Japan Apple ID. I did that. And so, we're gonna play that. Now before you go like, oh my god, what's your team or whatever, just remember, I have the equivalent of, what am I saying? The equivalent of, bro, I just started like 2 hours ago on this version. On my main, I am like a level 104, and I can have like a full team of 4 stars. A full couple of teams actually. But I wanted to get the Japanese version because 1, Bug, like the song, 2, the Ardo songs, 3, more chances at Emerald Tawny card, 4, why not, you know? If I knew how to do it, I might as well do it. Maybe I can be in the norm. So let's head over. The best part about this is I think I can just minimize my, I can minimize my own. So I can move you guys all the way over here. There we go. Everything's all nice, clean, and nothing's wrong ever. Okay, I'm gonna put my phone. Don't ignore the 70. I have a bad incline to just do that. Am I? No, I'm good. Okay. Moving my mic closer to me. I might. Should I solo first? What's solo first? No, as long as I want to play. Where is it? I can read. There we go, that one. I know what I should tell you is in Japanese. That's very handy. Oh, it doesn't even go over. Oh, you bet. Right. There we go. Fix that up. That would be embarrassing. Is that open? Okay, whatever. I can just tuck it into the side. Problem solved. There we go. Let's play. Don't judge my team. I pressed auto. I own 2 3 stars. It's Emu because if you can tell by my going live message being wonderful, Emu's my favourite character. Even though I called it Emu at the start. And also, I got Ichika. I keep getting Ichika on all my, new account. It was when I made a new account. And I pull and I get a, thing. I've also got Kaito, I just remembered that. Wait, is Kaito better? Before we do that, is Kaito? Bro, what the it really doesn't, it's really annoying. This, oh, I hate it. Oh wait, I have an idea. I'm gonna just put it there, and then I'm gonna, oh! Ha! I did it! I don't have to look at it now. I'm gonna do this. No, shit. Auto! I didn't do shit. Okay. Well, if we want to look at my cards, I have Kaito, Emu, and Ichika, and then like a shit ton of 1 and 2 stars. Like, I mean a shit ton. Oh my god. That's a lot. It's a lot more than I actually have. To be fair, if I click to... That's the best example of this that I could do. Okay, this card, and this card, and this card. Those 3 cards here, these 3, are not even on EN yet. Nor is... Actually, I don't know. That one isn't... I know that one is, because I literally have that one. That one isn't. That's about it, I think. Yeah, that's about it. Oh wait, hold on, that one isn't. This one isn't. This one is. I don't have it on my end because I was bothered. But that is. It's with the. I didn't know they were doing a rerun. I didn't know they were doing a rerun. I don't want the cards. I actually don't give a shit about them. I know, so criminal. Don't give a shit about the dudes. But I actually don't care enough. So I didn't know they were doing a rerun. I literally went on, and then I'm like, what the fuck? Why is this here? Like, this event happened a month ago, and then I realized it was a rerun. And I'm like, what? So I've started rerunning them. Like, I think the first limiteds have already been done, because the first limited was Fluffy Dreamland, which is like the Amu, Nene, and Rudy. And I have Nene. I got Luke and then Anna, and I didn't have Rudy. But this one is the second one. So next they're gonna get the no. Was it? I don't know. I'm giving up. But I want the red one. I want the red one of this. Give me red. Give me, look how cute it is. Okay. I'm gonna play multi-live actually. No, I'm not. I said I was gonna play a song. I'm gonna play the song, I'm gonna be honest. Just for my own sanity. I don't wanna watch those 3 do it. It'd be a bit weird. Oh shit, is my mic gonna affect my gameplay? No, it's not, I just moved it. That works. Okay, yep. I had to make sure like it was only picking out like my voice. And it is, so that's good. Because if it wasn't, that would be embarrassing. It'd be embarrassing. Also, I hate how this is at the top. The Apollo soft, because like, ew. Is it loading? It's not even loading. Exposed as I have to reopen the entirety of the game. I don't get it. Come on. Project Sekai, come on, open. Did I close it properly? I just realized Project Sekai and Colorful Stage have different icons. Come on. Open, I swear to fuck. If it doesn't, I'm gonna have to play Colorful Stage and this is gonna be embarrassing. I just thought you've opened. Why is it already broken? Holy shit. The D mirror. Oh my god, it doesn't like the mirroring software. That's seriously been fucking. I hate everything. It does not like my mirroring software. What the fuck? Damn, bro. Okay. Now that I've gone through the the thing. I don't know what that is. I can't read it, it's in Japanese. Okay. I can screen mirror it back. Go back on. Yep, there we go. We're back! Yay! So that sucks for streaming. We're gonna have that technical difficulty. I didn't know it was the fucking iPad recorder. Okay, let's try again. Oh. I have to, okay, so the game isn't. Am I in the right thing? Yeah. That creates my speed. I'm literally crossing my fingers if it works. Because if not, I'm gonna have to load it, like disconnect, load it, reconnect, and that's gonna be annoying. Oh my god, that's what I'm literally gonna have to do. The disconnect and like reconnect. Oh my god. Like I have to stop mirroring so we can load. What the fuck? Damn, bro. This sucks because it's the only way I can actually do it. Oh, now it won't even open. I stopped mirroring. Ah, we love technical difficulties. This can't be something that only happens on mic. Oh my gosh. It's totally. Oh, my app store is. You know, let's just restart the entire iPad. My app store isn't even opening. I think I need to restart the entire iPad. So, I'm gonna open it up on my phone. And we're gonna play with my phone instead. Because my phone shouldn't have the glitches because it's JPN Sekai. It's confirmed connected. Let's go back. I've got to readjust this entire thing because it was for the other variant of it. Yeah. Oh no, it doesn't even want to play this. Why do you not wanna? Bruh. Okay. This is my JPN account. Ooh, it's in English. Why do I not have audio? I don't have audio. Is it because my Bluetooth? I don't have audio. That's why. Because that. Turn my iPad back on. Go. Okay, that's. No, it doesn't. Okay. I need to put my bloody things down. We're gonna at least play one round. Jesus, even if it's on JPN, I don't care at this point. Is it gonna open now? Oh, now it's opening on my bloody iPad! Okay, bye-bye. Oh, it did a flip. Do a flip again, please. Thank you. Lose connection to my phone. Thank you. Oh god, that was playing out loud. Turning my ringer back on, oh my god. I have Never had more struggles, technological struggles in my life. Of all this. Holy shit. Actually, that's a lie. I couldn't get my VR to work once on stream. Like at all. That was worse because it was... This isn't giving me like a migraine or anything. Or making me feel sick. It's just annoying me. That's it. We're back! Okay, now I have to increase the size. Again. Oh, don't disappear. Ah, man. Oh, it disappeared again. Disappeared again. Okay. A little bigger. Yeah, that's good enough. Yay! I'm actually gonna test that I can open other apps quickly, like my app store. Because if it can't. Oh, okay, it's opening App Store. It's opening YouTube. It's opening Twisted Wonderland. Okay, I think we're okay. I'm not gonna close setups because. Go back. So that was the problem. It was just a glitch. Yeah. So we're fine now, I think. I think we'll be okay. Because I can open apps. Yeah, it's loading! iPad was decided to be a goose. That's the problem when I start messing with it. To be fair, I wasn't messing with like internal settings. I'm just confusing the hell out of it by having games from a completely different app store. But it's fine. Nothing's wrong. Oh shit, not okay. We're gonna have to win this. La, 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 la. Oh god, I suck. I think it's the background, to be fair. Of course, I'd put anything for blame. At least it's working now, to be fair. So I can't ask for much. And I don't suck balls, I just suck. I regret saying that sentence so bad. Oh damn, bro. Oh, I thought it was gonna be a flick note. It was not a flick note. Okay, good to know. Is this gonna be a flick note? Damn. That was actually pretty bad. That was, nah, why did I say bad? That is an incorrect statement. I was meant to say that's pretty good, but I went to insult you myself first. 7-Eleven's pretty, ooh, that's actually really good. I'm amazing at this game. I'm such a good pet. Oh wait, no, stop. Stop my sentence. I stopped myself. Hi, what the fuck? Goof. Can you stop having transitions, please? Stop transitioning. I don't need this. Okay. Multi-live. That's what I was doing. Wait, I probably want to put some else first. Not that I hate you, because I don't. Glad it. Not like I did. I don't know if I want Akito to be first. You know what, whatever, who cares? Better than nothing. Oh my god, 30,000 power. What the fuck are these using? I'll be like the Japanese ones, makes sense. They're doing random. I can't think of anything. Oh! Okay, we're all random. What are we gonna get? That. Okay, easy enough. Easy enough. Just it's something I actually know. Hopefully this is like a fun way to clear some songs. You know? I forgot to turn the MV off. I'll figure the settings and fix that. So I'm pretty sure settings you can auto select or not. Because if I want to view the MVs, I can just go to MV viewer. Is that a full combo? Yay! Full combo with the MV on. I'm so pro. I would play like Mega Mix and then just suck immediately though. I'm pretty sure I have Mega Mix like on my computer, not on my computer, on my, what do you call it? Well, like at PS4. Oh my god, I'm so bad at everything. Okay. Yeah. There we go. Oh no. Okay. No. I can't rate it. I'm not on the right app store. Because I know we can go to settings. I need to actually pick up my thing. I don't know which one it is. Hold on, I gotta translate. Oh. What is happening? There we go. Bring up my translator. Click. Ah, wait, it's down here. Let's check which one. Original song 2D. Okay, light. There we go. Did it! Thanks, Google Translate. Google translated the light to lightweight instead. And I was like, I'm pretty sure that just is meant to be light, but I don't know. Also, if you could tell by like the 5, I picked Vivid first because I picked Momo Jump and then I picked Night Court and it just ends up going chaos. I like who I like at this point. I'm not doing that immediately. I tell myself the first 5-star I get, that's who I'm picking. But I thought that'd be like a fun way to pick. Oh, I'm 1. And some more people come in. Yay! People! People! Oh. Oh. Competition. I'm gonna attempt. I didn't turn it off again. Oh wait, no, it's auto off. No, it's not. Because I had the option. Hopefully it's off. I don't know. I don't know. Oh, it is! Hooray! Hopefully this will help my lag problem. Ooh, love noise lag. There we go. I did good enough, honestly. Because I suck. I suck a lot. But like, at least we're like 30 minutes in and we're actually playing. Oh, they disconnected. Okay. Yeah, I unlocked it. I'm just getting master like everything. Oh, Jesus bloody Christ. Huh? I don't know how any of this. I don't know how like half of these things work. Like, Kisana, what? Kisana does not make any sense to me. Ooh. Why am I vivid. It's really a game of just how high can I make Vivid Bad Squad be? Oh, can I get another song? You wanna? I can! Yeah! Let's go. I can't pull yet, so I'm gonna continue. So I can't pull. Oh, they got the Akito. I don't know. I'm too scared to pick one. I am an outlier. Oh, Jesus Christ, I know what we're playing. Venom. It's a funky song. Woohoo. Venom. No, Venom. Why did I say villain? That was the last song. god. Oh no. We're fine. We're not dead, so... But we're definitely not unlocking Master. Oh, they're dead. We're alive. We're fine. I absolutely crumble at the end. Am I gonna look Akito first now that I think about it? Okay. Tap. Tap. Oh, I'm in the top 500. Whoa, top 500. It's better than nothing, to be fair. Oh, kid. I guess I just buy the last one there. Buy these. This is what I do, like, this is a routine for me. Buy that. Then, yeah. Should I say I'll take that card? Oh, I can do a temple. I also got distracted by... Dude, they have ones on the me. Whoa. Okay. Dottie. Dottie. I miss a pair. I promise you. I'm very much just doing that right now. An itchy car. Break that. Oh my gosh. Do the temple. We shall get dog shit. Love how there's no luck. Let's go. Nene! And then also some other views. Well, that's the one for the card event. Ian. I thought I'm just like that one person who points out like their friend. It's like, oh my god, that's my friend. That's my friend. Oh my god, there's so many here. It's not, no, here. What? Hey? Oh. Okay. What's this one? Which you get from getting these. Oh, here. So if you get like 30 of these, you can exchange them. You can exchange them here. You can get cards. You can get 4 stars, whatever 4-star you want. There's also the tickets, which, you know, are tickets. I don't know how you get this one. How do you get that? I want to know. I'm very curious. I'll go investigate the shop. I'm not going to buy anything, but I'm just going to investigate the shop, see if it's in one of these packs. On that one. On that one. On this one. These are... I don't know what these are. No, so it's not these. Those are costumes. That's the current. I wouldn't know then. Maybe it's like a gift. So if I get like a certain one of these, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, man. I'm trying my best over here. I don't know how this game works. It's just a goofy game to me. Ah. What are we gonna play? Rocky. I just realized on my title it says fist instead of first. Capitalize the S. There we go. Update. That was embarrassing. I was gonna like, ooh, that was nerve-wracking. Ah. Got very nervous. Oh shit. Wait. Go. Okay. Let's continue on. As if nothing ever happened. Leonie from it, yada yada yada. It's almost like I don't have any other cards. Like, the f okay, 100. Those. Ooh, another song. You could buy another song. It's fun. I can buy 2. There we go. I'll end up with all the songs pretty quickly, I feel like. That's one thing I need to do, like, for myself. Because if I don't do this, I'm gonna feel dumb. Not dumb, that's a little bit of an overreason. I didn't do the right one. I clicked the wrong one. It's awkward, but I need to play a certain song. If I can find it. There it is. Okay. Why'd that pop up? I'm just gonna increase the size just a little bit to make me. I'm gonna drink some water actually as well. What was that intro? Holy shit. I just missed that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh shit! I'm out. Yeah, I'm out. What was that ending? Jeez, holy moly. Ah! That for me. Well, that was my fun little trip. Okay, whatever. We just pretend that didn't happen. That doesn't matter. And if we have to do it again, we're gonna die. It's picky now. And I've disconnected. Lovely. I get that bloody thing on my own. Give me B. Ah. Yeah, they really do just pick. No, not this one. What the frick is the white? It was white. What was that? Was that just a glitch? That might have just been a glitch. False symmetric. White was not a color for this. So I'm just gonna assume it's a glitch. I remember why I haven't passed as an expert on my own account. Holy moly. Gee. Good thing I brought that Emily sticker. I can apologize to these poor people for sucking. Oh, could Oh yeah, I'm out. I forgot how hard this was. Oh my god. Oh, I suck. I also have no more chocolate milk than I made this time this stream. I apologize profusely. I did not buy the apology one. There we go. That's enough. Huh. My first friend, maybe. I am translating all of these for my own sanity. I don't want to have it be awkward for me. Hello. Thank you. Oh! Accept. That's nice. Also, that name in translation is Canon. Oh, they got a custom! Oh, they just... Oh! That's adorable! They got the Tenmas! I chose this... I'm gonna she would just translate like family set. It's a set. Oh, that's so... Oh my god, this is stunning! Oh, I have to take that idea. That is pretty. Oh, I got a thing. That's so pretty. Holy shit, mate. I should probably trace. It's another note. I could have just been saying how good they are without realizing because I don't know what they say. I'm going down one. I'm learning my lessons. I'm gonna figure out what that one means. Because I may have not been apologizing and I may have instead crediting how good they are. Which I mean, good enough. I need to readjust my seat. Oh my god, I don't want to deal with it. Whatever. Oh, I fucked up myself. I was feeling so smug in my brain, like, oh look at me, I'm FCing, oh you guys suck. I then proceed to miss. Whoosh, good enough. There we go. I'm like always nervous there's no audio, but I know there's audio. There's always gotta be audio. Okay, now. What does that mean? That Mizuki emote. From me wish. That makes no sense. What about these emotes? Rinda. Us. We're doing great. Yeah! This is why you can't just use Google Translate on photos. But nothing saying you can't just use Google Translate in general. Right. Hello, darling. Welcome to the stream. Put my Google Translate away. not doing this shit. Google Translate's a mess. Oh god. What am I doing? My brain didn't even know what I'm doing. I'm just collecting stuff. Ooh, beads. Beads? Those are not beads. Those are very much not beads. Where am I coming from? Holy shit. Jeez. Am I? Oh, jeez. I don't have that many left. Of course I don't. I went through all the events. Of course I don't have that many left. I kind of went a little bit crazy with that. How am I going here? 300,000. Do I get anything? Can I get shit? Or, like, no. Let's go to the bottom. I am here. I got 100. Is that bronze? I didn't even know. That's okay. I kind of expected that one, to be fair. Oh wait, no, don't spend, you're saving. Don't spend, you're saving for the Carter card. Comment. Okay, we go again. Of course we go again. Random. I do random just because I don't want to spend too long picking. Absolutely. Ooh, Halloween. Love how it landed on me for that one. Thank you. Thank you for landing on me. Totally appreciate it. I've never played this, so if I suck, that's why. Who is this? Is this Momo Jump? I'll have to figure it out. I'll figure it out. Very quickly. I think it's Momo Jump. I didn't know it was Momo Jump. I know that person though. I do love this song though, it's such a great song. Like, I'm pretty sure this was one of my childhood songs from when I was young and started getting to Vocaloid. Ew, I feel old. I got to Vocaloid when I was like 9. That feels wrong. Especially considering the songs I was listening to when I was 9. Definitely listening to some concerning songs when I was 9 years old. Oh yeah, this is Momo Jump. This is Minori. Or is it? I might just be really stupid. It might be Haruka. It could be anyone really. Ooh, Super Fever! I have no idea if my tapping is even picking up. That'd be funny if it is though. Well, again, I'm not tapping that much. Oh no. Damn. Woohoo, we did it! Well, I did it. I'm putting my glasses back on. Oh. That hurt my eyeballs. A lot. I strained my best friend. Hey! Literally! There we go. Get some more gems. And we unlock a master because I'm so epic and cool and epic. Okay. Investigation time. Where is that song? Is it Momo Jump? It is! I was right! What is this? Nice. I'm so smart and cool and epic and smart and cool and epic that I knew immediately. Clicked in my brain. Go me. Brain smart. Ooh, what's this song? Time to find out if I suck or not. It's a fun part. I don't know what any of these songs are. I only know the song if I know what the English name is, or I know what the translation is, roughly. Otherwise, I'm fucked. Like, correct sense on this one. No clue. Absolutely could not tell you. Like, I'd need to pull up the wiki to tell you what this song's called. Oh, did I seriously lose my combo? That's bullshit. What? We're already in fever? Huh. It doesn't sound bad. It sounds nice. I probably have the song, to be fair. I have like almost every song except for like songs from the start of the game, because I was focused on getting the newer songs since I have the older songs on my main account, so I can always go play those if I want to play them. But if I want to play like Bug or the Cup Noodle, I have to actually go on my iPad. Oh, that's my own fault. That was going on for so long. I hated that so much. Ew. Oh my god. That went on for like ever. Like, jeez. I'm like, I thought it was a glitch for a second. I like looked on my Twitch because I was going to open up my dashboard on Twitch. I see CDog VA is like exploring Australia's wildlife. I'm like, why the fuck is he in Australia? I remembered why he's in Australia. Oh my god, he's in my state. Oh. I'm having a moment. Oh, he's in my state currently. That's so weird. He's obviously not near me, because if he's going to wildlife, he's probably at like the zoo. Yeah, I think he's at Toronto Zoo. Okay. Yeah, so he's actually not near me. Yes. But for the most part, no, that was not the right one. For the most part, you know? Okay. And I'm small number. I get so many gems per thing. Like, wow. And then master, because I'm so epic. Good. Oh, I've nearly got the crown out. Okay, that's good. Probably get it before an hour 30. I just want to do another temple, because I still haven't decided who I want to challenge yet. Okay, this though. This one's so much better! Because the down below is the same, if I'm gonna be honest. But the above, because the above is just coin, gem, coin, gem. But this one is gem, energy, skill, like level ups. Oh my god. It's so much better. It's so much better. Holy shit. Hopefully English fix his stairs soon. Oh gosh. Are we playing Matryoshka? What are we playing? It's up to the last person. Cyan! Cyan, you're gonna kill me. Cyan, why must you do this? Come on, pick. Okay, we're playing Matryoshka. No, we're not. The game is like, we hear how you talk about Matryoshka. You're not playing that. No, my eye. Okay. What are we playing? 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 I don't recognize this song. What is this song? Am I gonna die? Probably. Okay, let's calm down. I'm still alive, I'm still alive. I think I'm out. I'm not! Oh no, I am. God! What the hell was that? That sucked. Let me take a moment. Take my cup out, otherwise I'm gonna leave the cup here and then it's gonna go bad. Not go bad, but like, parents aren't gonna be happy with me. You want to be in here? Do you really want to be in here, Millie? I really have my dog with me right now. Hi, do you miss mommy? Do you want to go up here? Do you want to go up here? Go up here. Up here. Up here. No, up. Continue. Alright. Obviously I died. Okay. That was expected. I literally died. Okay, I'm gonna have to check one more round. And then I get Kahane. That's good. Oh, now you want to be in here too! Oh my god. Got all the pets in here. I can't believe that's what's already nearly at 10. Or are they at 10? No, they're not. I had to say I'd be a bit shocked. To rank Miku. Okay, I was kind of expecting that. Go again. I see the face. Oh, people are picky! Okay. I forgot to be really awkward about it. Oh, Jesus. I don't know how. Did I second get it? Like, did I? Okay, let's go. Go. Why are they so tiny? Oh my god. I flicked that. Bitch. I didn't flick that one. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm still dying. Come on, I got this. No, I don't. No, I don't. What is this? This is meant to be for two. This is a two-headed game. I suck. Combo 3. Just immediately pull it off. Jeez. Ugh. Lovely. Right now I'm doing the Bat Squad 10. I can go get that Kohane card too. I can't roll yet, but I can get a Kohane card. Le gasp. Got it. Already claimed it. It's just glitching. Nope. Yep. Okay, what is the other one? Ichikas. Ugh. I'm gonna upgrade Great Honeycon now. Because, you know, priorities. How many more? Oh shit, I do. Okay, let's just continue. Oh, please pick something. This is embarrassing. If you don't pick something, this will be more embarrassing than it needs to be. I hide my face in guilt. I picked. Okay. Oh! We are truly a spectrum. Hello, welcome back. Woo! Okay, now I gotta focus. I think. I actually don't know how hard this song is. Oh, that was bad. Oh, lag. I fully blame that on lag. Oh god. I mean, this song is such a vibe, if I'm gonna be honest. It's so vibey. Mama Job getting all the bangers. They got Happy Halloween. They got, I think they got Love Trial. They got Project Sekai, they got Vampire. I did it! I did it! Why the frick do I have like a bajillion notifications? Oh, because it's Sarah's birthday. Ah! That's why. It's Kuja Sarah's birthday. Oh, but that! Deborah. I did not get all perfect, but I got better! Which is good enough in my book, if I'm gonna be honest. We can get another song. Because of course we can, because I'm so good, I'm so amazing. I totally have just played this aggressively. Oh, I haven't even been streaming for an hour and a half yet. Shocking. Oh, I got by 2! Oh my god. No, it's okay. I only have 25 songs I need to get left. That is... wow. That's just... it's just wow. liked it. It's just wow. Because I didn't think.
Hello.
Why are you wearing a Hawaiian shirt?
Because it's the only thing that makes my chest kind of not itchy.
Also, I'm live.
Cool.
What the fuck? Oh my god.
What are you streaming?
Project Sekai.
I don't even know what that is.
Hatsune Miku.
Ah.
I'm not kidding. It very much is just a lot of Hatsune Miku. What am I doing? Oh, just go back. I need to get a 4-star. To do that, I first need to get wishes. Maybe 5 gems, and maybe we'll get a 4-star card. Halloween! I'm not attempting master yet. With how well it's gone, I'm not attempting master. That would be a bad decision. That would be a really bad decision. Oh my god, my iPad's so warm. Ooh, jeez. I did so well there. Oh, I hate this play. But I have to just deal with it. I'll live. Maybe. God. Don't sing at the same time you tap. That is my wise words for myself. So if I sing while I tap, I will miss. There we go. I didn't die because I'm epic and good and epic. My dog's disappointed in me. That's great. That's lovely. Oh my god. What? Hair? No. Oh there we go. I do great. I got B! We're getting places. We're getting places. Ah. Oh my gosh. Do you get like I wonder why I get gems next. 800. Ah. Well, that explains a lot. There's no quick waves. Not yet. I'm too early into the game to get my quick wave gems. Yep. Oh wow. That was quick. So I was originally going to call myself katlikesfire. But I've ran into the problem. My name is too long. So I had to just do cat because my name is genuinely just too long for it. So that's fun for me that my name was too long. There. I've heard this before. Oh my god, no, not Dino, it's like, I want to see him blind. It's too early to be dying. I can't see. Oh, I didn't die. Oh, I was not expecting to not die, but I did not die. Woohoo! Woohoo! It's I'm like a broken record, so I'm just woohoo! And I have gems! Me, I want to pull. I want to pull. I want gems. They offer a lot less here than they do in the other one. So I know in the other one, like, you can get any type of things. Where's Kohane? Kohane! 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 I am a broken record. Oh my god, where is she? Holy shit. Kohane, there she is! Kohane. Yay! Now, next. Emu. We ran out of shit. I don't. You get taken out. Kane is just significantly prettier. I'm not sorry. That's it. I don't have anything else after that. Oh, I can do this thing. Ah. It was definitely totally a predicament that I was accounted for. It gives me gems, so I don't care. I ran out. It's fine, we can do this. Right. Ooh. Let's prioritize the four. 3-star, 3. That's, am I just blind? I think I am. Oh, I pressed with. Bye bye. Oh no. Okay, I don't know what I've done. Everyone's back. Oh, this clears out. Destiny to destiny. Aha! I think. No. Shit. I'm getting out the translate, I actually can't. I need the translate very desperately. There it is, Rowdy. Got it! Because I'm so smart. Oops, sorry, I read the demo. We just go until we can't no more. Because I am amazing at everything to do with everything. Oh, right now. Let everyone on lose ahead. The beach. Where did you? Can't get you. Can get you. Ran out. We don't have purples. Second. Okay, now I've run out of everything. There we go. How do you want it? This is what happens. We go through. Everyone have it bad. Let each copy become level 3 because of course but it gives me gems, so I don't actually care that much. Then Kohane. Ooh! Go Kohane. Agito. Gems too. Toya. Gave me a cover card of him. Emu's already at 3 because I'm an insane person who likes Emu a little bit too much. And then we go Matthew. And that's it. Ayo! That worked. That worked quite well actually. Because we can do a temple. What I need to do is now go around, just jump around a bit. There you go, nice one. Okay. Jump around a bit. And then I should be able to just let's see. Oh, and I'm measure enough. Friendship. Oh, and then we're done. Okay. Give me red. Give me red. Give me red. 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 Do it. Transform. Transform. No! Screw you! Just kidding. Oh my god, my eye. Two side symbols to be pop up. Okay. Shino. Blind and then. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. I can accept it. I just realised I forgot to claim these. I've got 400 wish pieces and they've just been sitting there. Is that what I want? That's not what I want. I want this wish. Yeah, they don't have it. That's okay. I can buy 60 of these. I can buy here. I know I can get another ticket because I can. I think. I can get one more. Yeah. I really want the red one. Give me red. Give me red. This one's just chaotic. I want red. 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 Okay. What am I gonna do, Kaito? Oh, the others are here. Anyways. Oh, I should have Shido! Too late. I still have enough. I could do Shido just later. I still have enough. I can get stuff up for Shido. Do we work? I like this. I like this too. As if I just set this to be Leonine instead. And I'll remember to level up my Shido card that I just got. I don't even have that card on my main. It's a new card for me. Yep. Here we go. Ooh, someone's taking it. Well, someone just named Orange. Go Orange. This is gonna end well if I pick expert. I'm being nice to myself. I'm picking not expert. I just realized this mega load like quicker for me because I'm closer to probably the Japan servers than I would be to the US ones. Oh, it's still there. Dog's still here. Okay. This is gonna go totally well and not. Wait for this. Damn it, I lost my combo. Ray! Oh, damn! Damn! Go the Toya person. That might be. Oh, that's not orange. That's not orange. Orange is a different Toya. That ain't orange. Someone else. Whose name I popped it. Yeah, I don't know how to say the name. Hooray! Okay, I didn't do that bad. To be fair. It's not that bad. It'd be so much worse. I'm surprised at it. And we get an extra 30 here. Yeah. Huh? Saki. Nope. Nope. There we go. I was gonna get it eventually, which one it was. Emma? Damn. Is Emma gonna be my first level 5? Most likely. I wouldn't be surprised by it. There we go. There I am. Oh! They're picking. I'm not. Okay. Hopefully it's an easy. It is. It's even happy. This song's great. I like this song. It's very vibey. I don't think I have this song currently. It's fine. Not that shocking. It kind of is, considering how many songs I do have. Oh well. I'll get it soon. There's 2 people dead. Damn, there's 2 people dead and 1 million dead. That is shocking. Wow. Oh, they disconnected. They weren't dead. They just disconnected. But 60,000. Is that 60,000? No, it's not. It's 600,000. Huh. That's weird. 600,000. That number, dude. It's such a weird thing. There we go. Level up. We go again. I don't know what I did. Oh my god. Jesus. Bloody Christ. Like 3 Akitos, a Toyo, and a Kohane. Oh. At least I have 3 stars. That's the good thing. It's like when this event ends, I can go into a normal set of cards. Like they need a little shaping. Oh, I just straight up missed that note. That's embarrassing. Ooh. Just cut that out. I didn't miss a note there. No. Oh wow. The frame rate is so much worse. Like it's so much nicer on my iPad than it is even on the recorder. That's so sad. It's fine though. Yeah. I got a B now. Probably because I have 2 things. Jeez, 70. So much more considerate. Oh gosh. Okay. Oh. Howdy. What a... Yay, 7. No one thinks. No, I can't. I already brought them all. Oh wait, no way. Oh, I think I already brought all those 2. Who did? There is no will, there is no way. Oh wow, I'm at 120,000. What is this one? 19. Oh, so I came in pretty late. Still got like 5 more days, but like... Ugh. Like, I came in quite late though. But also, I'm doing really well for being in 100,000. Like, I'm pretty sure 100,000 gets an actual thing. No, it's 10,000. Yeah, 100,000, we get something. Main story, Leo. It's just really just gonna be Leonie being leveled up right now. No, I usually don't like Leonie. These guys are gonna be completed. Should I just aim to actually no, that's probably a bad decision. I've only got 2 rounds left. What the fuck? Ah, yes, thank you. My second last round, I am now the intense voice of Hatsune Miku. Hurry out, they massive. Suck it. There we go. Anyways, it's fine. Nothing is wrong. Okay, I might end up doing 2 more runs. That right? So I've got the 9, and then I'll get like another 10. Not minutes. Not trading. Where am I? I'm doing the solo. Is it this? So it's not all. No. Dude. No. No. I'm not fine. Okay, I gotta go. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I'll play it. I'm like, I gotta pick one at this point. Can't just not pick one. That's gonna be a bit awkward. Meltdown. Banana. Oh shit. No, restart. I didn't know restart. Goodness. Look at stuff up so easily. Well, that's stupid. I can't make the same mistake. Like, realistically, I can't make the same mistake twice. Well, at least not at the same time. If I sneeze, I will lose my shit. I did not think that. I don't know what through. Oh, fuck. Oh, I just suck apparently. Jeez. Why am I simply laughing when I just say I think I just suck? That was timing. That was most definitely timing, and I didn't miss to take it off. That wasn't looking good. No drink. Oh, no, drink. There we go. Yeah, 5-1. That works. And then there we go. Who is that for? Miku. Level 3. And then level 2. That's it. Just Miku. What do I do? What am I training? Shino. There we go. I'll do one more and then I'll do a pull and then, yeah. Pick me a song. Y'all, you're depressing. Can I even play this song? I forgot to find out. I think I can if I just try hard and blow my nose beforehand. What's nice to screw that one up? There we go. Oh god. Oh god. I'm fine, I think. Oh, I didn't even flip. And then I flip with 2 hands. And then I don't flick again. Can I just decide to flick? Thank you. Well, that wasn't that bad. That could have been worse. I could have died. I didn't die. I didn't know I could do that. Oh, might have been like a difference. I don't know what's on the can't do. Because one of those. What are the Walker songs I can't do? Okay, I did well. But I did it! Oh wow, and I got to 13 in one day. I should probably. What I should probably do? I should probably get down. Do I want toy or a stamp? Just hard decisions, toy or a stamp. I just pick neither. I want neither. I want neither toy nor a stamp. Oh, that one. Great. I should probably pick someone just to do. Yeah, I know how challenge work. Go funny. Yeah, need some. So I'm just gonna keep attacking until I get what I want to play. Nope. Okay. Is that seriously the only other? Oh my god. I didn't even realise. Who knows, maybe I've got another round in. That'd be kind of funny. That'd be kind of funny if I get another round in. Funky Kaito tuning song. I don't know why I find this tuning song funky, but it's not funky in a bad way. It's funky in a sweet way. I don't know, like it's a very sweet song. I have no idea what to say. It could be the most depressing, gory shit. It just sounds nice. That's the beauty of not knowing the language. There we go. That's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. Nothing's wrong. Nothing's ever wrong, ever. No. Everything's A-okay. It's okay. Whoa! Stage 1 and stage 3! And then 4! Go on it! There we go. Master, no. Okay. Thought we could. We can't. There's 2. Oh, right clicked. We'll play some seed thing that I can't use yet. You know what? Let's just pause that off. I'll have to do one pause because I don't have enough to do a 10. It's something at least. Oh, I ran out. That went hard. Well, are they limit? I don't think they're not limited, so I think we'll live. Well, I had nothing else planned if I'm going to be honest. I won't be going live tomorrow, I know that much, because tomorrow, and not tomorrow, well, when I say tomorrow I mean like the Saturday part, because I was like Thursdays and Saturdays. Saturday I'm going to a convention, so I won't be there, so I'll see you next Thursday. Maybe we'll play Project Sekai, maybe. Actually, no, we'll probably play Genshin because the events will be out. I would have already started the event and maybe already got the official skin. Just because I want the official skin. But as for everything else, you know, yeah, who cares? So with that, I say goodbye. And I'll see you next time. Yeah, that's really it. Bye.